Hello everyone and welcome to a new Presearing video. Today we will be tackling a debate as important as softshell versus hardshell tacos, as divisive as Coke versus Pepsi, and as philosophical as if a dog wore pants, would he wear them like this or like this? Of course, I'm talking about the age-old question, which one is better for Presearing Rangers, Read the Wind or Ignite Arrows? And right off the bat, I'm just gonna say that while there are some differences, ultimately I think they're small enough that you should just pick one that you prefer. But if you're still curious and you're craving some Presearing boy math in your life, we'll jump straight in and I hope you'll enjoy. So first, let's start by listing the similarities between those two skills. Both Read the Wind and Ignite Arrows are preparations, which means they enhance your bow attacks and only one of them can be active at a time. They both have 2 seconds of cast time, 12 seconds of cooldown, and they both last for 24 seconds, and that's where the similarities end. So, what are the differences, I hear you ask, and I'm very glad you asked because that helps me segue this part of the video. Let's talk about the differences. Read the Wind costs 5 energy, scales off of the marksmanship attribute, makes your arrows move twice as fast, and adds a bit of physical damage to each of your shots. Ignite Arrows costs 10 energy, scales off of the wilderness survival attribute, and makes your shots explode, dealing additional fire damage in a small area of effect around your target. So, right off the bat, before even looking at the damage numbers, we can notice two things. First off, Rangers have 3 pips of energy regeneration, which means they regenerate exactly 1 energy per second, because each pip represents 1 energy per 3 seconds. So the 5 energy difference means you need to regenerate your energy for 5 seconds more to compensate for using Ignite Arrows over Read the Wind at 0 expertise. While this does apply for any other profession that has Ranger secondary and wants to use the bow, 0 expertise is pretty unrealistic for primary rangers since it's a very good attribute, so for a fairer comparison, let's discuss 8 expertise, which is what I personally use. At 8 expertise, your base 5 energy skills now cost 3 energy, and your base 10 energy skills now cost 7. That is now only a 4-second difference, and to paint a clear picture, it's not 4 seconds of doing nothing, since rangers do very well just auto-attacking. You should more treat it like an opportunity cost. If you use Read the Wind over Ignite Arrows, you will be able to use a few more abilities over the course of the char run. Actually, after reviewing one full char run that I've done, from the gate to full altar clear, I've used my preparation 10 times, so that's a 40 energy difference, which can translate to a lot of additional damage from skills you wouldn't otherwise be able to use, or, in my case, it fuels my use of Healing Breeze over Troll Unguent, which in then saves me the 3-second cast time. The second thing we can see is the attribute difference, and you might again ask, why does the attribute matter? And I'm once again glad you asked. Let's move on to the math. Since the preparations only work on bow shots, it's implied that we are in fact shooting a bow, which means that our first priority when it comes to attributes is marksmanship, and not wilderness survival. The most common attribute spread will have marksmanship at 14, which is the cap of 12 plus 2 from the rune in our helmet, and wilderness survival at 8, which is 7 plus 1 from any other gear piece. This is because we want to max our marksmanship for bow DPS, and 8 wilderness survival is also a breakpoint for Troll Unguent. So with 14 points in marksmanship and just 8 points in wilderness survival, Read the Wind surely gives us way more damage, right? Wrong. Comparing the scaling of those two skills, we can see that while both of them start at plus 3 damage at 0 attribute, Read the Wind only gets plus 1 damage every 2 attribute points, while Ignite Arrows increases in damage with every single point invested. At 14 marksmanship, Read the Wind increases your damage by 10, while Ignite Arrows deals 11 damage. My intonation there was purposeful, as that's a meaningful difference. All damage increasing effects ignore armor, so what you read in the description of Read the Wind is what you get, just plus 10 damage. On the other hand, elemental damage of Ignite Arrows is affected by armor. That means that high-level Vanguard enemies will take less damage from your Ignite Arrow explosions. But it also means that regular char you encounter in the Northlands will be dealt more damage than what you see in the box. This is because all skill descriptions are written with the default 60 armor target in mind, and all low-level enemies found in Presearing have less. So let's take our 11 damage Ignite Arrows explosion and showcase the damage versus all the normal char found in the Northlands. As you can see, this damage increase due to lower than default armor affects all char, going from dealing just 1 additional damage to all the melee char, all the way to dealing an additional 10 damage to char shamans. That's a huge difference, it's almost twice as much! And we didn't even talk about the area of effect part of the skill yet. Since enemies in Presearing don't scatter under AoE, and considering the tendency of char to clump up together, you're getting a lot of additional chip damage with every shot. If we're only considering char runs and raw power, Ignite Arrows deals more damage than Read the Wind to every single enemy except Gast Ashpire under the effects of Mantra of Flame. Pretty good. And that's all considering the scenario where you have 8 Wilderness Survival, but you could just get it even higher if you decide to sacrifice some expertise. So after calculating all of this, why are people even still considering Read the Wind? Surely the substantial damage difference and the area of effect are worth the energy difference. Well, it's because of this. Depending on your bow type, your arrows travel at various heights, with the flat bows having the highest arc and thus the longest arrow travel time. And it just so happens that the bonus bow, which is the strongest bow in Presearing, is a flat bow. This means that the likelihood that the enemy moves during the arrow's flight is the highest, and in turn, your entire attack misses. Missing your entire attack is much more of a DPS loss than the difference between the two preparations, and Read the Wind nullifies this disadvantage almost completely. The part of the skill description that says your arrows move twice as fast actually sets your arrow speed to a default value, which is the same for any bow, meaning that for flat bows it's actually more than the double increase. Moreover, something that is not mentioned is that it also sets a default arc for the arrow, which now flies at a straight line parallel to the ground. These two combined make it so it's extremely rare to miss shots, which in turn increases your DPS in a way that's hard to quantify. There are of course ways to navigate the fight in such a way that the enemy movements are minimal, and if I was primarily an Ignite Arrows enjoyer, I would work on being more conscious of my enemy's placement. But sometimes you just get that char stopping or sidestepping for no reason at all, and Read the Wind just makes grinding way more brainless and is generally just reliable. So, to sum it all up, Read the Wind helps you avoid missing shots, which is very useful, especially if you're using a flat bow, and deals more damage to high-level Vanguard quest enemies, while Ignite Arrows deals considerably more damage in any other situation and also offers an area of effect. But just like I always say, this is a tutorial area, so if you want to min-max, now you have the necessary information to do so, but if you just want to pick your favorite preparation and use it everywhere, that is also completely fine. And before we end the video, I also have a few random things that didn't fit anywhere else, so here we go. Dual Shot applies the effect of your preparations to both arrows, so for Ignite Arrows this means that there will be 2 explosions. Some enemies are weak to fire, and because of that, Ignite Arrows will deal even more damage to them. In Presearing, the 2 notable ones are Oak Hearts and Ice Elementals, and speaking of Ice Elementals, they have 140 health, and a level 20 ranger with 14 marksmanship using a bonus bow will deal 139 damage to them, leaving them at 1 HP. Any preparation will get you over that threshold, I just thought it's mildly interesting to mention. And lastly, preparations actually work with Power Shot, but you still shouldn't use it. And with all that out of the way, I think we can wrap up the video, so thank you for watching, hope that you learned something new, and if not, I hope you at least enjoyed. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.